Hi, this is David Lamb. We're going to start the webinar. We're going to review the Mitsubishi Kumo Cloud implementation for controlling indoor units. Ryan Flynn from Mitsubishi is going to walk through it. This is something that's been implemented in Europe for a couple of years and has been very successful. So we're bringing a little bit of European sophistication to America. And I think Ryan's now going to walk through.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are indeed going to speak about Mitsubishi's new proprietary control system, which is a system with two parts: a proprietary smartphone app called Kumo Cloud, matched with what we're calling a Wi-Fi interface device that gets installed at the indoor unit with a model number PAC WHS 01WF-E. Thank you for joining us. So what is Kumo Cloud? Kumo Cloud is a platform designed by Mitsubishi for Mitsubishi, allowing us to control indoor units from a smartphone, tablet, or device. It does require internet for remote access and or Wi-Fi for access inside the house, as long as the device or phone is on that building or structure's network. This will allow remote connectivity as long as internet is connected from anywhere in the world, and it has been designed and proves to be easy to install, easy to use. We are indicating this product is currently for our residential and light commercial product lines only. Those would be the M&P products. This is not currently supported in the City Multi. So, Mitsubishi Electric branded remote access has been designed to be compatible with both Apple and Android devices. This is a Mitsubishi dedicated app. It is by and for Mitsubishi, will not work with any other equipment in the industry. We also have the ability to control with the mobile browser, meaning you can utilize a laptop or desktop computer if you don't have a device as well. Integrated into the system are error alerts. If an indoor unit ever shot an error code out, notification would come up on any logged in devices. Does a nice job allowing for programming. You could not only program a zone, but you could program groups of zones and or the entire home or building at the same time. Landlords actually have the ability not only to control zones, groups of zones, but multiple buildings or sites at the same time in one integrated, seamless control platform. We'll note that this not only requires a router, but it requires a router with WPS connection. WPS stands for Wi-Fi Protected Setup, and it appears as though all of today's modern current routers have a WPS button. Needs to be pressed during setup, as you're going to see in a little YouTube video about installation. There are some older, more dated routers out there in the field without a WPS button. If you have an older dated router without WPS, you will not be able to connect to Kumo Cloud, and a router upgrade would be required. Folks, before we move on, I also want to point out we're fielding questions this morning. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in on the question bar on the right side of your screen, and we will make a point of answering them as they come up and as we go. Okay, so we've already had a few questions this morning, especially pertaining to where to locate that interface module, that little white box. That little white box has a black logo on it. It also has a flange on top where you'd put a screw to mount it to something. So I'm going to point out that it is at the contractor discretion on where that gets located. I'm also going to point out that that little white box, it really doesn't fit inside our wall-hung units. There's just no space for it, which makes this product very appropriate when using a ceiling cassette, an SEZ air handler, a P-Series air handler, a new MVZ air handler, PVA air handlers. although contractors must be thoughtful in where they're going to locate that device when using, for example, a floor standing model or a GE or an FH wall-hung unit. Most appropriately, it seems to me that unit could be mounted flat, preferably I would think on top of the unit. But if it is mounted on the side or on a wall, it does indeed have a black logo on it, which very well may not fit into your customer's decor, if you will. Kumo Cloud is a free app to be downloaded on Android devices from sites like Google Play and or the Apple App Store. The only expense involved is paying for the Wi-Fi interface, which has a reasonable list price of $185. There is no subscription fee. There are no ongoing fees. This is a basic control, so we can control temperature, mode, fan speed, up to and including vane direction, but not louver direction. Illustrating the cost effectiveness of this solution, we compare it to our other previously in place remote access technology utilizing our partnership with Honeywell. For several years now, we've had a accessory control we refer to as the MHK1. MHK1 stands for Mitsubishi Honeywell Kit 1. Our MHK1 control utilizes Honeywell's RedLink technology for communication. An MHK1 control is needed for each and every indoor unit. Although this doesn't include labor or contractor profit and markup, list price on an MHK1 control is $300. So this slide is illustrating in a typical 4-zone system, you'd need 4 $300 controls. You'd also need Honeywell's RedLink gateway, bringing the total cost of equipment for control on that 4-zone multi-zone system to $1,350. compared to 4 of these Wi-Fi interfaces at a more reasonable $740.
That said, there's still a place for the MHK1. We don't see Kumo Cloud replacing MHK1. The MHK1 is for people who want the familiarity of a thermostat. It's for people who maybe have an MVZ, but not everyone has a cell phone or a smartphone, so therefore you want something on the wall that can control those recessed and units that are not controlled by the standard controller. And the people don't have, not everyone who wants to control the system has a smartphone.
David's absolutely right, and many of our customers still want a simple, what we'll call an American-style control. An MHK1 hangs on the wall. It's easy to navigate. There's an up arrow and a down arrow to adjust temperature, and it doesn't require any significant technology enthusiasm, if you will. The Wi-Fi interface leaves absolutely no control on the wall. The only way to control the equipment is via a smart device, and that is not for everyone. That is more for the technology enthusiasts, which indeed happen to be our target audience, but by no means should you eliminate MHK1s from your product mix. This just gives you a good visual of that thermostat interface. It does have a little WPS button there on the top left. You need a very small device, a thin eyeglass screwdriver for pressing that button. There's also a reset button. We're going to take a look at the sequence of when you would utilize those buttons in a few slides, as well as a vision of the front home screen of our app. Looks like we have a question. Can you use Kumo Cloud and an MHK1 at the same time instead of using the gateway? Okay, good question. The answer is no, you cannot use both Kumo Cloud and MHK1 on the same indoor unit. You would have the ability to use Kumo Cloud on some indoor units, MHK1s on others, certainly within the same building, but both the Wi-Fi interface as well as the MHK1 receiver both attach to the equipment through the same place, and that's with port CN105 on the indoor board. The indoor board of Mitsubishi Electric indoor units only have one port CN105, so you don't have the ability to have both. You'd have to choose one. So Kumo Cloud requirements. Kumo Cloud is relying on an internet connection. Specifically, it's requiring a Wi-Fi connection. So a third-party router needs to be in the house, and a Wi-Fi signal needs to be present at each and every indoor unit location. This Kumo Cloud download is compatible with Apple operating systems of 8.0 or newer, and or Android operating systems 4.1 or newer. The illustrations here on the left and right indicate two different scenarios. On the left, illustrating a remote connection. A smart device from anywhere in the world is connected to the internet. The internet connects to the router, which then communicates with the indoor unit, allowing for control from anywhere. The image on the right actually is not requiring access to the great World Wide Web out there in the sky. You're simply on the same network, so the phone is communicating with the router and indoor unit within the space. Best way that we have at our fingertips to illustrate the installation process of our new Wi-Fi interface in Kumo Cloud can be found on this YouTube video. We do have several YouTube videos on the Mitsubishi Electric channel at youtube.com. I encourage everyone on the call to take advantage of these videos. Besides looking at how to install Kumo Cloud, there are several well-done videos on a variety of both install as well as service-related topics for Mitsubishi Electric. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, I'm Charles Nocciati with Mitsubishi Electric, and I'm here to tell you about our newest innovation, the Kumo Cloud, and also our Wi-Fi interface and mobile app. Kumo Cloud and mobile app allow you to connect to your indoor unit remotely or inside your home and control your air conditioning from your phone. I'm going to walk you through step by step and just show you how easy it is to install the Wi-Fi interface and connect to the Kumo Cloud. The first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect power to the indoor unit and outdoor unit. As you can see, we have an FH line of our IMP series, and I've gone ahead and removed the front cover and side housing. In addition, I've removed the control box housing. This gives me access to the CN105 connector, which is where we'll plug our Wi-Fi interface. Now we're ready to put power to the unit. Once my unit initializes, you should see the flashing light, LED 3 every 5 seconds. 1, 2, and 3 all lit up at first, and now LED 3 is solid, meaning the unit is initializing. LED should begin to blink. Now you can see it blinking every 5 seconds. To pair the Wi-Fi interface with the home router, you need to find a small device to push the WPS button until LED 1 starts flashing. So I need to move to my home router very quickly and activate the WPS button. I'll know it's activated once the light begins to flash. Now both devices are in the pairing sequence, and they should sync up in just a second. Now I see LED 3 is flashing every 5 seconds, and in just a minute or so, LED 1 will start flashing every 5 seconds as well. Now we're seeing LEDs 1 and 3 flashing every 5 seconds, which means we're ready to download the app and discover the interface on our mobile device. Alright, so I'm just going to open my app, Kumo Cloud. Once I log in, you should see the app begins to find any new zones immediately, and it looks like we found one new zone. So I'm going to click on that zone and change the name. Once I've changed the name, I can operate, check my filter status, set a schedule, and I can select different zones for different schedules. I want this to happen every day, and I work really late, so I'm going to set it for 8 p.m. I hit Program Event, and now I should expect my house to be nice and comfortable when I get home after 8 p.m. Also, in the Settings page, I can check for unit errors, and I can delete Wi-Fi interfaces from my app using the transfer ownership. I hope you find that Kumo Cloud was easy to install on your indoor unit. And if you have any issues out in the field, you can certainly reach out to our customer care department. We'll be happy to help you troubleshoot those issues in the field.
All right, so I hope you found that to be helpful, and I'll point out that you could watch that over and over again by simply finding it on the Mitsubishi Electric channel on YouTube. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to the Mitsubishi Electric. Oh, excuse us.
Hey guys, Jeff here with Mitsubishi.
Okay. There we are. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to the Mitsubishi Electric YouTube channel. That way you're notified when good new videos come out. The other thing I'd like to point out, on that video, Charles was pointing out the importance of understanding which lights may be illuminated. I'll point out that those lights are not on the front, but instead on the back of the device, making it important that you have the ability to view the back of the device during that process. So I wouldn't go ahead and stick it on something with double stick tape, because you won't be able to get it back off and view the lights. A mechanical fastener and or something like Velcro may be more appropriate. All right, moving on. When talking about where you can install this, we've already mentioned this is designed for M&P products, residential and light commercial product. This is not currently compatible with City Multi product. When we take a look at some of the compatibility charts, what we find is that this is simply compatible with every indoor unit that has a CN105 port on the indoor board, making it compatible with all of the same models compatible with our MHK1 control. Current generation, prior, one or two generations back, tend to all be compatible with an MHK1 and or Wi-Fi interface. Models prior to that, which are prior to the, for those of you that understand the model nomenclature, prior to the -8 and -9 indoor unit models, would not, however, have a port CN105 and therefore cannot be adapted to our new Wi-Fi interface. This is true of both M-Series as well as P-Series indoor units. You will be able to find access to lots of information on the new Kumo Cloud software download as well as Wi-Fi interface device from MyLink Drive. You could access the Wi-Fi interface through the controls menu. When going into the Wi-Fi interface from the controls menu, you can find installation guide, user guide, compatibility charts, as well as submittal, as well as a link to the Kumo Cloud. Kumo Cloud could be found within software. If you wanted to download software to a desktop or laptop computer for Kumo Cloud, you'd find that within software at MyLink Drive, where you can also find a link back to the Wi-Fi interface. So easy to find the information on MyLink Drive. Changing gears a little bit and talking marketing, Mitsubishi Electric continues to do thoughtful marketing, not only on a large basis, but in a thoughtful manner. Mitsubishi continues to target two target segments we consider to be comfort seekers, those that have hot and cold spots, those that are driven by comfort and control, keyword being control, as well as technology seekers, those that seek out technology and innovations for life changes. The technology seekers happens to be the slightly larger of the two groups. We will point out that these new control options do cater to both of our target segments, and we hope that you will take that onto the local level and market and target those same segments in the markets in which you cater. Going on that a little bit more, corporate marketing dollars continue to be focused on these two areas, creating the need for Mitsubishi and Douglas in your local markets. We do need you dealers to harvest those needs locally. Essentially, we're asking you to take the ball and run with it, and we want to help you in any way that we can. Some application considerations. This product is very well applied to recessed units and units that are installed in attics, like our air handlers. It is definitely need consideration required as to where you're going to locate the Wi-Fi interface if you're putting it on a wall-hung ductless unit. Again, I'll point out that box has a flange on top of it for a mechanical screw. It has a logo on it that's black. It may not fit in with your customer's decor, so you've been warned. It does not fit inside the ductless unit. If you want to take it upon yourself to find a location for it, such as Velcroing it to the top of the unit, that may be best. I have been told that someone successfully Velcroed it to the bottom of a floor standing model, but that is indeed at the contractor's discretion. This was a question that we had earlier in the second bullet point. Kumo cannot exist with an MHK1 on the same indoor unit, as they both require access to port CN105. We only have one port CN105 on each indoor unit. And the third bullet just points out that a household can utilize a mix of MHK1s, for example, in common areas where you want anyone to be able to walk over to the control on the wall and adjust the temperature, and or Kumo, making it accessible only to those that have a smart device with a Kumo app on there. The point I'll make is that there's no reason you can't have multiple devices controlling the same indoor unit. If you'd like to have 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as you'd like devices controlling the same indoor unit, you'd simply need to utilize the same email address and password when logging on to second and or multiple devices. A few observations. When on the Kumo app, you can simply hit the home button and manipulate, control all zones at once with commands, or you could control one zone at a time. It's also easy to create groups controlling only some of the zones, but not all of them as desired. This is considered also to be easy to install and easy to use. We've also identified the ability to easily organize groups and zones as it pertains to programming. You could program multiple zones the same way and or differently by day, by time, by setting, by mode, and it's all easy to navigate. Additionally, you can add and delete zones as desired by device, by password. Again, as mentioned earlier, the ability to utilize this technology is dependent on Wi-Fi signal. Layman's simple version of identifying Wi-Fi signal, if you were putting an air handler in an attic, for example, would be to pull your phone out of your pocket and make sure that it does indeed have a strong Wi-Fi signal from that attic or location, wherever that Wi-Fi interface is going to be located. If you wanted to take it to another level, there are a couple of links here that we can provide you with. These are free downloadable software and apps that allow you to measure the Wi-Fi signal prior to installing it in a location. Ideally, you'd have between -20 and -60 dBm in terms of Wi-Fi signal strength. Either of these softwares or any other available for download can help you identify that signal strength. We don't anticipate problems. However, we do communicate and share that if you are having trouble connecting or setting up, if it's not working the way as described on the YouTube video, please do contact our customer support number at 1-800-433-4822. Folks at our customer care will be able to access Kumo Cloud's service portal and go through a few easy steps with you, making sure that your MAC ID, your serial number for your Wi-Fi interface does align with what's indicated on the service portal. They have the ability to modify, delete, or change that, making sure that you do indeed have proper function. Again, we don't anticipate this being a problem, but if it is, please contact our customer care team so they could get you straight. A couple frequently asked questions, which we may or may not have already heard. Can I use both the remote controller and the app on my phone? And the answer is yes. If you have a handheld remote that came with a ductless wall-hung unit and you also have a Wi-Fi interface, you can control with both. Simply, whichever control was adjusted last, takes effect. Another question is, can I control the same indoor unit from multiple devices? As already addressed, the answer is yes. You simply need to use the same email address and password when logging on to Kumo from the second device or additional devices from there. Couple summarizing points, and then we're going to take a look if we have any additional questions. Kumo Cloud is indeed the only thing like it in the industry. It's easy to install and easy to use. It meets the needs of our key target segments, comfort seekers and tech seekers. It is a cost-effective way of controlling Mitsubishi units compared to other technologies available. And as a contractor, this absolutely differentiates you and your offerings from your competition. Let's see if we have any additional questions. No other questions are appearing at this time. If anybody has any questions, we will stay on the call.
So that's a new question.
Okay, we do have a new question. And folks, we will stay on the call for a couple of more minutes, so feel free to post questions. We're going to stick around and answer as many as we can. And the first question we have here is, will the remote control still work with wall-mounted units? The answer is yes. If you have a wall unit with a remote, a handheld remote, and you also have the Wi-Fi interface, you can use either or. Simply whichever one was touched last will take control. Next is there a demo app that can be used to show both dealers and homeowners? And the answer is yes, with limited functionality to become more functional in the future. If you want to be able to display the Kumo app to dealers and or homeowners, simply download the Kumo Cloud app onto your smartphone or device, and you will have limited functionality from there until it gets to the point that you try to complete programming for a zone, at which point it's going to identify there is really no piece of equipment attached, and you will get an error code. But you absolutely can navigate through some of the screens and programming prior to coming to that stopping point. In the future, we intend on having an ID and password made available to dealers and distributors alike that will give full functionality and display. However, not at the moment. Let's see if we have any other questions. Can we use the Kumo Cloud instead of Honeywell's app for an MHK1? The answer is no. The MHK1 is only compatible with Honeywell's RedLink technology. Kumo Cloud is a proprietary software compatible only with the Wi-Fi interface. You cannot combine the two. Will we be able to see other metrics through Kumo Cloud? You will be able to see any error codes. You'll be able to see what equipment is attached. You'll be able to see which modes are set for which zones. I'm not sure what other metrics you're looking for, but I'm not familiar with any other metrics in addition to those I've already mentioned. Is it possible to have the Kumo sent out to the diamond contractors on a thumb drive for desktops? I'm not under the impression that we have the ability to do that. I do believe that it is a simple, easy download from MyLink Drive, and we would encourage you to use MyLink Drive to download this instead. Does this support more secure Wi-Fi setups? Yes, I do believe the whole nature of requiring a router with WPS functionality is to orchestrate a more secure Wi-Fi setup. WPS, the acronym, does stand for Wi-Fi Protected Setup, and it is communicated to be more secure than other methods.
This is a follow-up to that question.
I see we have a follow-up to the question about other metrics on runtime, energy consumption, etc. At this time, the answer is no. We do not have access to such information. This is definitely compatible with GE and FH models. Yes, it certainly is. It's compatible with MSZ GE-8 and MSZ GE-9 models, as well as all FH models. It would not, however, be compatible with GE models prior to the -8 series. As long as they have an NA-8, the model will be functional. Last question we have here this morning is this webinar available online to watch again? This webinar is being recorded, and it will be made available on YouTube.
By the Pierce Phelps YouTube channel. So we'll send the address out to everyone who attends and to all the TMs. So it should be an easy way to rewatch.
We do have additional questions. Can an MHK1 connect to the Kumo cloud instead of Honeywell's app?
Sure.
The answer is no. Where can we access a recorded version of this presentation? You could do that on Pierce Phelps' YouTube channel. In particular with Wi-Fi is WPA or WPA2. I'm not sure what WPA2 is. I believe that as long as there's a WPA button on the router, you can put it into wireless setup function, and while pressing WPA on the Wi-Fi interface simultaneously, they will begin pairing effectively.
Let's just see. That's it if you want to come to us.
If there are no other questions, I think we've come to our last question. We appreciate all of you being part of today's webinar. We appreciate your business, and please reach out to customer care at 1-800-433-4822 or your Pierce Phelps representative for any help with the new Wi-Fi interface. Have a great day, everybody.